Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, Asia the Bird. I have a very special guest with us today. She is an award-winning nail artist. She is also a nail judge and educator, as well as businesswoman. Please welcome the legendary, incomparable Viv Simmonds. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
All right. So, how's everything been in terms of in Australia with the pandemic and everything? How's everything down there?
It's been a bit crazy, as it is pretty much worldwide, but I live in a state that was locked down since March. So we've only just come out of that, I think, in the last 6 weeks. So it's been a very rough year. We've finally basically been able to do things like go out, for dinner or go to a cafe or catch up with family. We still do have restrictions, but they were quite severe for, majority of the year. So it's good getting out and about again, starting to feel semi-normal.
All right, that's good. That's good to hear. I wanted to take you back into the very beginning. Like, how did you grow up? What was your upbringing like? And also, how did you get into the beauty industry, especially the artistry of it all? So if you can elaborate on your upbringing as well as your start into the beauty industry, that would be awesome.
Okay. Well, I grew up in East Keilor. I have three older brothers, and it was actually really odd because, and obviously my mum and dad, we basically spent a lot of time camping, fishing. Fishing's a big thing for us, very big thing. So that was my upbringing, and that's something that I still love. Probably it's my favorite thing to do. But my three older brothers went into, well, the eldest went into science, the other two went into accounting and finance. So I was kind of the oddball, you could say, because they were more academic. I was creative. So it was a completely different thing. And I was actually a whoopsies. So I came 5 years after my youngest out of the elder brothers. And having three boys and then all of a sudden having a girl, I think threw my parents into a bit of a tailspin. But and I continued to do that throughout my adolescence. So getting into something creative was really sort of different for me. It was hard. I didn't know what to start with. I loved to draw. I loved to paint when I was, going through school. So I'd sort of headed down. I was starting to look at the fashion industry. And then I decided to get into hairdressing. That kind of didn't last. And then I did a nail course. And then I did come to a sort of fork in the road down the track where I was doing makeup because I did all beauty work as well. And I didn't know whether to go down the path of continuing my career in nails or what I wanted to do as well was makeup for movie sets, so more dramatic stage kind of makeup. So I had a choice, and I had to make a decision and focus on one thing. And I think at that point I'd already entered a couple of competitions, and I was getting into that sort of thing. So I ended up choosing nails.
Oh wow!
And the rest is history.
Wow, that's a very cool story. It's very interesting how you got into fashion design. Like, I want to ask you this other question too. Is there any artists that you've been inspired by, any mentors that you've been inspired by that really pushed you into really excelling so much into your craft? Like, who inspired you the most, whether it's artists or mentors or anybody?
I always had a really, really deep love for Salvador Dali.
Me too.
Loved his work.
I love
went
his
to,
work.
I've got his books, and I loved the fact that the things that he created had that kind of that edge to it. So it was beautifully composed.
Right, exactly.
His skill was evident. But then he had that twist, and I loved that twist, So I suppose I was inspired by that in a sense, although obviously nails doesn't really relate to the type of work, the painting that he did. But In the industry, look, you know, it's funny. I was only just talking about this yesterday with Alex Fox from Nail Olympia and Scratch Magazine, and she asked me a similar question. In the industry, I suppose I was influenced by, or I got into the art, more of the art side of things when I was working at a time with Tom Holcomb. He basically taught me how to paint with acrylic powders. So I started getting into more of the design work, and then I met Catherine Wong, who I know you're aware of. Yes. And, you know, we just kind of grew from there. Inspiration comes from everywhere. Well, you would know, you're an artist.
Yeah. I got inspired by like the same artists as well. Like you had like Salvador Dali, Kandinsky. I actually went to an art college called Savannah College of Art and Design, which is SCAD in Georgia here in the States. And that's why I've learned different artists like from, like I say, Kandinsky, Salvador Dali, Hieronymus Bosch, these different artists that had these different cool styles of just painting. It is so cool, especially like Baroque art I'm very inspired by as well. And I also, how I first started, I got into nails like around like 13, and my dad asked me, what do you want to do as a career? And I said, I want to do nails. And he said, if you want to do nail art or nails, you got to be the best at it. And I remember seeing the interview with you and Alex Fox, and how your dad told you you have to be the best at what you want to do. That resonates with me, because that's the same thing that my father had told me. So I felt a sense of connection when you said that. So I wanted to ask about your salon business experience, because I know you've mentioned about owning a salon and you worked as a hairstylist and things of that nature. So what was your whole experience owning a salon, and what are some tips you can give for somebody who wants to maybe just sell products or own their own hair, nail salon, and how to be successful at it and how to put themselves out there? So if you can give any tips or your whole experience about that, that'll be great.
It's a very, very, very different world these days than when I first started. So when I had my salon, the main sort of time frame, I had it for 12 years. We had 5 desks running. We did beauty as well. We had a solarium back then. We had, you know, waxing and beauty treatments, you know, facials, massage, that sort of thing. But we had 5 desks running, and I think I had about 8 to 9 staff. And we were fully booked, like right through. And we had a column in the appointment book, because back then we didn't use computers. We had a column for cancellations. So every day that column was full for people wanting to get in. But back then it was based on word of mouth. And it was a very different world. So, you know, looking at it, you know, back then there were salons everywhere. And most of the salons had, you know, at least 2 to 3 staff. Now it's very difficult to find salons. A lot of techs work from home, so it's a different dynamic. And there's social media, there's the internet, there's so my advice in this day and age, and coming from someone who I haven't really done it that way, but I would basically say it all comes down to the same thing: your reputation. Your work is your business card. So, you know, I don't agree with, I strongly don't agree with, you know, discounting and, you know, and trying to basically price match. I think you charge for what you're worth. And yes, it may be a little bit slower to start off with, or you can start charging a little bit cheaper and then work your way up, have an introductory offer or whatever. But basically, you've got to charge what you're worth, because, you know, as a nail tech, we put, you know, thousands of dollars into training, into setting up, and we are running a legitimate business. You've got to pay for insurance. You've got to pay for your rental, your product, you know, work cover, you know, all of those things. So, you know, at the end of the day, it is a business, and you've got to charge accordingly. so that can be a little bit more difficult because, you know, people like to shop around. People, you know, in general would prefer to, you know, they would opt for the cheaper option. But there are a lot of people out there who still, you know, you get what you pay for. I still stand by that old saying, you get what you pay for. And I think if you set a standard, you just live by that. And we, you know, back when I was in the salon, we were charging premium prices back then, you know, unheard of prices, probably more than people are charging these days. And we were fully booked. So it's just a matter of, I believe you need to train. I think you need to train under someone reputable. What we used to do is, you know, I used to organize training events and also encourage my staff to attend training events. And we would train under someone reputable. So, you know, we would tell our clients and say, I'm about to do this training course, you know, with this person. This person has blah, 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 blah. They've done this, they've achieved that, whatever. And the client would get excited, or the clients would get excited, and they'd think, oh, that's great. What are you going to bring back for me? You know? And then, you know, we'd come back with new techniques. And the first thing we'd do is we'd use those new techniques on our clients. So that's really important. Showing your certificates, showing your accomplishments, and promoting that as part of your social media and getting involved in the industry competitions. I still, to this very day, 29, 30 years later, I stand by comps because comps put you on a platform where it pushes you. You have no choice. If you don't prepare and you don't push yourself to your limits of your skill, and you won't grow, you know. So I mean, obviously you can still do that without competitions, of course, but it gives you that little bit of an extra push. And it also gives you the opportunity to see what's out there, to see the standard that's out there, and to give you something to work towards. So that was a short answer.
Yeah, that's very good amount of advice, because I think that's very important itself, because I like how you mentioned is understanding to charge what you're worth and understand your value. And that's what I was taught by other nail artists, you know, charge your worth because you buy all the materials and you work so hard to create a nice piece of a product, you know, to sell. Like, and you should charge for how much you're worth, you know. So I thought that was a really cool, really great piece of advice, because I'm a nail artist and I love doing nail art. And I would sell like press-on nails, and that's what I'm doing. I'm selling press-on nails, where I just do art on nails, and I sell them for a certain price. And my friend would ask me to do press-on nails for her. She loves press-on nails that I do for her. So yeah, I put a lot of time in, and it's a really great piece of advice. You know, charge what you're worth and understand your value, because you work so hard in what you do. Now, I wanted to ask another question pertaining to your businesses. You have VivCat Nails and also VivCat Nails Academy, where you teach classes. So if you can elaborate on how both of those businesses has started, that would be awesome. And especially, how did you decide to become an educator and teach other people different nail techniques and different nail styles?
I didn't actually decide to be an educator. So I had the salon, and people started asking me to train them because I started competing and I was winning in Australia. So I sort of created a name for myself without even, that wasn't my intention. My intention was my focus was to compete, and going back to what my dad said, I was trying to be one of the best. So, so I started getting competitions to do that. And then, you know, after winning competitions, people, and I actually myself, you know, before my first competition, second competition, the first one was an absolute disaster. But a few years after the first one, I sought out an educator. Her name was Phyllis Italiano, and she was the biggest name here in Australia. She was a creative educator, and she was amazing. So I actually paid back then, I'm almost 100% sure, but, you know, it was a fair while ago, but I think it was around $900 for about 6 hours. right? Now, people wouldn't even pay that these days, but that's how much I paid. And I went and did the training with her. I came second and she came first after I did that training with her. Now, that I never would have accomplished if I hadn't have trained with her. So that kind of taught me a little bit about education, and what she achieved by training me, you know, coming out with the second, and what I achieved from the training. And so when people started to approach me, nail techs, and ask me to train them, I didn't have any experience, which is what then led me into, I think I actually started with creative because of Phyllis. But then I was introduced to Easy Flow, and we had a woman here in Australia. Her name was Midge Duggan, and she was an amazing, amazing leader. She was a distributor and had a team that was just phenomenal. So I joined her team. She became my mentor, and she became like my second mum. And we were pristine, white uniforms, like, you know, we couldn't misbehave. But outside of work, she knew how to party. But when it came to when we were working, we had to be professional, makeup done, hair done, nails always done, you know, that sort of thing. So I suppose the discipline back then was completely different. Like, we never wore denim. You know, you couldn't teach in jeans. You had to be properly attired, like corporate almost. So, you know, those old school kind of, I don't know, I still like that. I think if you're, you know, and the same in competitions, all the competitions I've won, there's only one photograph of me wearing jeans, and it was because I was jumping on a plane as soon as I received my trophy. And I had to quickly change before the presentations. But I never wore jeans. I always tried to make sure that I was, you know, professionally presented and that sort of thing. So becoming an educator for me was a career choice, and it took me that one step, you know, forward in my career and to help other people. So I put together a team, and I got them into competition. And, you know, I've got countless photographs of, you know, my team with me, and there'd be 6, 7, 8 of them, you know, holding multiple trophies, you know. And I found after a while that was even more rewarding than, you know, me getting up there to get a trophy. Like, it was just such an accomplishment. So I think education is a great way to go. But if if you're looking to do education, you've got to do it right. You know, I know that people don't want to be restricted by companies, but at the same time, a company is what's going to help you grow. You can still educate independently, absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think to get that groundwork, to be taught how to educate, I think is really important as well.
Yeah, and with being an educator,
did that answer your question?
It did, yes. And also with being an educator, like, say for instance, somebody is interested in being an educator, like for a brand like Easy Flow or Akzentz or some sort of nail brand. Can you tell us what advice would you give for somebody who wants to start being an educator and to teach, and what are the types of training they have to go through in order to be an educator?
Okay, so every company differs now. It's very, very different. Years ago, most companies would have almost like a boot camp kind of setup. So, you know, you would attend a 3 to 5 day training event. It would be in another state, so you'd have to make sure that you're covered for accommodation and all that sort of stuff. You would basically go through the training, and then you go through your exams or your assessments, and you know, how many broke, you know, halfway through and couldn't complete it or whatever. Nowadays that has softened substantially, and the same kind of requirements are not really out there, which is really sad, because becoming an educator was an accomplishment years ago. Now becoming an educator, you can literally pay companies to buy their kit and become an educator. I don't personally agree with that. I think that you need to be taught how to educate. So I can speak now from example or from experience with, say, Akzentz. I'm the global education coordinator for the team worldwide, and we've developed a training associated with becoming an ACE educator, where you actually get taught how to educate. So we don't sit you down and teach you how to do, a pretty flower. We teach you how to present yourself, how to present a class, how to structure your business, because becoming an educator is not about a title, and it's not about, making yourself look better or whatever. It's about actually passing on the skills and the expertise and the experience that you've accumulated to someone else to help them grow.
Right.
And I think that's gotten lost in translation over the years. So what I'm trying to do with our program and working with, Akzentz head office and whatever, is we're trying to assist nail technicians in setting themselves up as a business, because you're basically, you need to run being an educator as a business. You need to invest time in yourself and upskilling. You need to invest time in how you present, whether it be online or in person. Whether you're going to be traveling to classes, how you're going to promote your classes, how you're going to market yourself, all of that, that's a business. So, I think someone who wants to be an educator really needs to stop and think, why do I want to educate? Is it because I want a title? If you want a title, then build yourself a profile. Right. But if you are serious and you've done nails for a while and you need a change of scenery, you want to stay in the industry, but you want to do something, more rewarding, or you need whatever, you need to change or you want to grow, then take your expertise and your skills and everything that you've learned, but do it right. And that way you're passing on the right kind of information to people that are coming into the industry that haven't had that exposure before.
Right. Now, I wanted to get into the collaborative business that you and the international legendary Catherine Wong did. And your brand was VivCat Nail Design, which I thought was so cool. It's like two people with a huge amount of expertise in artistry collaborating together and just make magic, of nail art. So I wanted you to talk about how you and Catherine Wong first met, and also how did VivCat Nail Design come about?
I was due to go to, I think, Rome, Italy, to train with, I think it was Alicia. It was Alicia. It was definitely Alicia. I can't remember. It could have been for, I can't even remember what training course it was. But anyway, I was due to go over there and train, and it got cancelled for whatever reason. And Alicia said to me, she knew Catherine and she knew me separately. And she said to me, you know what? I said, I really wanted to train, I was ready to go over there and do this course, and then it got cancelled and whatever. And she said, you should look up, there's this woman called Catherine Wong. You should check her out, look her up. So I did. And I found her and I sent her an email. And I said, hi, my name's Viv Simmonds. I said, I've heard amazing things about you. I've got an opportunity where I've got a few days and I really wanted to train with someone. Are you open for it, kind of thing? And she wrote back and she said, oh my God, Viv Simmonds. She said, yes. So I was like starstruck by her, and she kind of responded in the same way, and it was very humbling. And so anyway, we made arrangements and I flew over there, and it was actually quite funny because and I know I've told this story before, but it was a classic because I'm a klutz, so I'm very clumsy, and so is she. So we were born basically a day apart. November 24 is my birthday, November 25 is her birthday, and we're the same age. So it was really uncanny. We are so similar but so different. So when I had to meet her that morning, she was coming to my hotel, which is around the corner from where her business is. And I was nervous. I was nervous meeting the Catherine Wong, right?
Yeah.
So as I was walking down the stairs of the foyer, I tripped and I nearly fell down these stairs. And I remember thinking, I wish the earth would just swallow me up. So embarrassed. And Catherine's at the bottom of the stairs going, Viv, like, oh my goodness, are you okay? And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe I did that. But knowing me, it is a typical thing for me to do. So I was really embarrassed by that. And I was, and we basically took off. We walked to her premise. And then she's got like she had 3 flights of stairs to get up to her actual shop. And as we're walking up the stairs, she was in front of me. She tripped on the stairs going up.
Oh.
So it was really funny because, I just tripped coming down the stairs. She tripped going up the stairs. And I think that was pretty much what cemented our friendship. I realized that she was just as clumsy as I was. But we spent the next 3 days just working shoulder to shoulder. Catherine and I in our work are completely different. So Catherine is one of these people that she can basically just pull something out of her hat like that. Like you can put product in front of her and say to her, I need you to come up with a design, and she'll whip up something and it will look like a masterpiece. Me, I'm the complete opposite. You say to me, Viv, I need this design. I sit there, I plan it, I work out how it's going to look. I choose my colors. I sometimes will sketch it out beforehand. So we were polar opposites when it came to design and everything.
Right.
And it was really funny because we collaborated. Somehow we came together and yeah, we joined forces, started VivCat, and then we were competing against one another. So we would basically rock up to, I don't know, let's say we're doing a comp in the States, and I'd fly in and she'd fly in because she was flying from Singapore. I was flying from Australia. We'd never connected our flights. We just used to meet at the destination. And I'd arrive and I'd have all my work done, laid out, ready. And she'd arrive and not know what she was doing yet. But yet she always came up with something phenomenal. So we competed neck to neck. Sometimes I'd win first and she'd get second. She'd get first, I'd get second. But it was always, we were always there to support one another. There was never any rivalry.
Right.
And we grew and we had the best experiences. So it was fantastic. The only reason we stopped was because my mum was unwell. She had Alzheimer's and dementia, and it was coming to a point where she was becoming gravely ill, and the traveling, I was always away, and I didn't want to be overseas when if something happened. So we kind of put a stop to all the travel because I needed to be home.
Oh wow. I wanted to talk about like the nail covers, because you and Catherine did a couple of nail covers, like Nails and Nail Pro. So what would be like your favorite nail cover that you and Catherine did together, and what would be your favorite like nail cover that you did solo wise?
I would have to say was it the Valentine's Day one? I think it was the Valentine's Day one. And it was funny because we put a spin on it and we switched. So I would normally always be with the, doing like the blacks and like black's my color or non-color. And we switched it up, and she did the red and I did the pink. And I love the effect of that cover. That was actually probably one of my favorites that we did together. My favorite on my own, I did a Christmas one that I really liked. The bows for Nail Pro. I loved that one. That was fun. It was all 3D. bows, like all various bows. So, and I used like a glass red as the base. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But all of them I really enjoyed, and the team over there, I mainly did them for Nail Pro. The team were amazing. The Mexican cover that Kat and I did, we did that while we were in Mexico, and we were told at about 10 o'clock at night that a magazine was coming to do a cover. And we had to, I'm just getting rid of this message on my phone. We had to come up with nails within an hour. So at 11 o'clock at night, we started working on a poor model, which was one of our educators, and she had her hands spread, you know, over a table. I think she was actually asleep on a table. And we had been working at a show for 3 days, and then we had a 2-day training event, and this was at the end of it. So we were exhausted. And I think we were working on these nails until 1 o'clock in the morning, and that's what time the photo shoot took place. So that was actually a really good one as well.
Oh, wow. I like the one cover that you did. It was you, Catherine, and it was also Gina Silvestro. And it was back in 2011. I love that cover so much. It looked so amazing. How did you guys like get together?
That was really cool.
How did you guys plan that whole set of nails like for that cover? Like, how did that whole process go?
Well, we met Gina originally through training. I think she attended one of our classes, or we met her at a competition or something. And then we were doing a class in LA, and we said to Gina, come in as our guest artist, because we were all friends at that point. We were going to be spending time together and whatever. So G came, I call her G. G came in as a guest artist, and then Nail Pro asked us to. Or was it Nails? No, she was doing a cover for Nails magazine. Kat and I did one together as well for Nails, and then we did the Nail Pro one the same trip. So what we did was we brought 3 different elements. I think Gina built the nails, and then Catherine did some of the inlay design, and I think I did the 3D from memory. That was a while ago.
Yeah, but that was a really, really nice cover that you guys really did. I thought it looked really cool. It looked really amazing. It's so colorful too. That's what I like about.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
When you guys got together, you made like a whole lovely canvas of just nail with colors and different techniques and butterflies. I thought that was just really cool. I was so inspired by you guys when you did that cover, and you guys really inspired me to get into nail art and also really into the artistry of it. So it's really, really cool. I wanted to ask about collaboration within the beauty industry. Like, how important is collaboration within the industry, especially, you know, collaborating with different nail artists or hairstylists or anybody that's within the industry? How important is collaboration?
I think it's paramount. It's well, not only do you form friendships that last a lifetime, like Kat and Gina are 2 of my closest friends in the world, and they live in 2 different countries. The people that I've met through collaboration has been phenomenal. And, you know, if I can take one thing away from the industry and from my career, I think the thing that I value the most out of everything that I've done is the friendships that I've formed. And the people that I've had the opportunity to meet. You know, Alex Fox, you know, Tom Holcomb, you know, Alicia Raimondo, Anthony Buckley, you know, some of the greats in the industry that I have so much respect for. You know, I had the opportunity to work with these people, to, you know, socialize with these people, to learn from them. You know, it's super important, and it always comes back. You know, I mean, you'll always get inspired by things, and also they're there if you need them. You know, if you want to ask advice, or, you know, for example, I haven't seen Anthony Buckley in how many years, but I know that if I sent him a message and said, hey, you know, can you give me some advice on blah blah blah, he would definitely respond, you know, and he would help in any way he can. That's important, because that, whatever industry you're in, that's always really a really important part of, you know, building a career and so forth, is your collaboration with people. It makes a big difference, but it's also very rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
So my advice to anyone out there is absolutely get out there and meet anyone and everyone that you can.
Right.